Okay, so when you're dealing with logs, you have to think, all right, I got two sides of the equation, and my goal is to have only one log on each side, just one. So that means I've got two here. How do I combine these two into one? I'm either going to multiply the 2x and the 3 or divide. What do we do? Multiply. So I have log base 5 of 2x times 3, 6x. Now this one, I've got a log on each side, so what can I do? You just cancel out the logs. And now it's 6x equals 24. Divide both sides by 6. X equals 4. Okay? So remember, if you got one log on each side, they just drop off, they cancel. All right? Now, if you already notice here, I don't have a log over here, so I got to do it a little bit different. But still, I got to do the first thing step. I got to combine these two. All right? So now it's minus. So when I combine them, what do I do? Divide. Now, which one goes on top? What's the numerator? 5x. So it doesn't matter when you multiply, right? I could do 3 times 2x, 2x times 3, it's still the same. But when you divide, you got to make sure you put the first one on top in the numerator and the second one down here. Okay? Now, I don't really have to reduce that when I'm working with these problems. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. All right? Now, I can't solve this because, well, at least not yet, because I can't just cancel a log. There's no log over here. So what can I do?
Multiply by 10.
I can't multiply by 10 because, like right now, this is inside the log. Like I can't touch that. I've got to rearrange this somehow. Probably put it in a different form. Well, it's in log form. Right, so now what I want to do is take it from log form and put it into, what kind of form is this called? Log and exponential. Okay, that's why it's an exponent, because it's called exponential. So basically, I'm going to put it in that form. So the b becomes the base. The e, the number over here, becomes the exponent, and then the a goes on the other side. So the base would be what?
4.
4. What's the exponent? 2. And then this would be equal to what? 5x over 10. That's the a part. All right, now, what do we do first? So I'll bring this over here. What do we do first here? What do you think? Let's start with the left side. What do we do there?
Square.
Okay, we'll square that, so 4 squared. 16. All right. Now we've got a rational or a fraction over here. How can we solve that now?
Can you multiply both sides by 10 to cancel out the 10?
Yeah, let's get rid of the 10. Get rid of the denominator. Multiply 10. Multiply 10. Get 160 equals 5x. And then you guys know what to do now, right? 5 by 5. I don't know what that is. It's 20 plus 12, 32. Okay, so that's 32. All right, but again, the goal is take those two logs on each side. If you have two logs, combine them into one. If you have both logs on each side, cancel them. If you don't, then you're going to have to put it in exponential. Okay. All right, so let's go. Let's now turn to this one. We're going to go over to. It says without graphing, determine where the graph of f of x squared plus 6x plus 4 intersects the x-axis. Okay, keyword there. Where does it intersect the x-axis? What word do we use to describe a point where it intersects the x-axis? Or where it crosses or where it touches the x-axis? What word do we usually use for that? X-intercept. We're looking for the x-intercept. Now you don't have a graph, and it says to do this without graphing, so that means you're going to have to solve it using algebra. Okay. What is another name for an x-intercept? We talked about this yesterday. Different names that describe x-intercepts. Or it was a delta math assignment. You looked at the graph and you had to find the what? One is the roots. Okay. Roots, x-intercepts, same thing, different words, different ways to describe the same thing. Let's say I give you an equation and I ask you to solve the equation, and then you say that the solution to the equation is x equals 4. That's the same thing as finding the x-intercept or the root. So another word is solution. So I'm telling you this because I don't want you feeling like you're finding all these different things. You're finding the same thing over and over again. If you figure out where x equals 0, you're looking for an x-intercept. They're all the same thing, just different words. So if I want to solve this here, x squared plus 6x plus 14, what are some methods I can use? Or what would be one method you guys would use to solve that right away? Box, sure. Let's try that. Okay, so over here, let's try to set up our x. So on the top, I put 14x squared. On the bottom, I use 6x, or put 6x to b. Two numbers that multiply to 14 add up to 6. Oh, we got 1 and 14. That multiplies to 14. I got 2 and 7. All right, well, that's it. Do either of those work? No, they don't. That doesn't work, that doesn't work, and that's the only options you got. So that means this doesn't work. So what other options do you guys have? Quadratic formula. And you notice I kind of erased it there. All right, so you're going to have to use quadratic formula here. So just to re-review what that is, x equals, what's the first part, Ruben? Negative what? B. Then plus minus. Inside the square root liberty, what's the first thing I write there? B what? What's before the 4? It's not plus, it's minus 4. And then times two things. What are they? A and C. Maria, what's on the bottom? 2 times A. All right, so there's your formula that you need to use to solve that. All right, so you can see I kind of already have it set up. So if you want to cheat, okay, you can copy that in there, but you got to find the answer. All right. All right, so remember though, it's 2 solutions, right? So you're going to have to do this with both plus and minus. All right. And again, when you guys show your work, I just want to at least see you guys set it up. All right, then you guys can use Desmos or whatever to solve it. All right, now the next one here. For each point given below, write the possible equation. So you have to find an equation, and the key word here is in standard form. Find it in standard form. Now, what you are given 2 points. You guys know what kind of points these are? When 0 is the last number, the y. What kind of points are those? If you have 0. What's that? It's not y-intercepts, they are x-intercepts. Because if y is 0, that means you're on the x-axis. If the x is 0, the first number is 0, then it would be the y-intercept. So these are x-intercepts, both for this problem and for this problem. Now you'll notice here in the second one that I crossed this out. All right, I'll explain in a minute, but the reason we crossed it out is because tomorrow's lesson is more relevant to that. So I don't want to jump ahead. I didn't want to jump ahead. All right, and even Ms. Menard explains that too. Like, just don't worry about that until tomorrow's lesson. Okay, that basically takes this problem to another level. Okay, but I'm trying to start in the beginning and then we'll work our way up. Okay, so to explain this problem, I'm going to do an example right over here on the side. Did I get a good marker? Okay, so let's just say I've got 2, 0 and 3, 0. Actually, matter of fact, let's go over what you guys are more familiar with first. Say I have x minus 2 and x plus 3 equals 0. If I asked you guys, what are the solutions? What would you tell me? Good. You basically took the number and then did what with it? Flip the sign. Now let's go backwards. Let's actually start with the solution, or another word for the solution, the x-intercept. Let's say I give you this. Actually, let me change up the numbers. Now I'm starting with the solutions. I'm starting with the x-intercepts. Remember, these are the same thing. This is written as an x-intercept. This is written as a solution. All right. So let's work backwards now. What would the factor be if the x-intercept is 4? X minus 4 and x plus 5. There's your equation. But that is in what form? Is that standard form or factor form? That's factor form, but the question is asking you to solve it, to find an equation in standard. So this is factored form. All right, so how do I get these into standard form? What would I do? Yeah, multiply them. Do the box. So I'm going to multiply these out. X minus 4 and x plus 5. And if you know how to do these like by hand, that's fine too. Like if you know how to FOIL in your head. Okay, so x squared minus 4x, 5x, and then minus 20. So now I have x squared. I add up my like terms, 5 minus 4, so that's just x, and then minus 20 equals 0. So now there's the equation in standard form, okay, in standard form. So don't just write out the factors, you're also going to have to multiply them and write out the standard form equation, okay? And that's pretty much the same for both of them. However, if you guys look at the first one, it's not a whole number, it's a fraction for the x-intercept. So same steps, however, just a little bit different. So let's just say I've got, let's say 1/3 0 this time, and I don't know, we'll say -2/5. We'll make both of them a fraction so I can show you how to do this. All right, so going straight to here. What is the first number? If the solution is 1/3, what is the first number? It's not 1, it's going to be the number on the bottom. So it'd actually be 3 here, 3x. What goes next? Well, remember, that's positive. So yeah, you wouldn't want this to be negative. All right. Now, knowing that, what would be the first number here? 5x, and then what? Plus 2. Okay. And then we do the same thing. Set up our box. Multiply them out. So that'd be 15x squared, 6x squared, minus 5x, minus 2. So now I have 15x squared. Add these up together. Minus 2 equals 0. Okay. So the fraction, the bottom number goes first, the top numerator goes second. And then make sure you still flip the sign, just like you would if it was a whole number. Okay.
your